So anyways, I'm going to turn the time over, and thank you.
Huh? Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it, man. Okay, so my name's Mark Peterson, and I'm born and raised in North Ogden. So, like, I'm a local guy. I've been here my whole life, and I grew up at the base of Ben Lomond. When we moved into the primary house that I grew up in North Ogden, it was on 3100 North, up in North Ogden, and there was nothing above us. There was dirt roads and orchards that were above us. And that year, I got a BMX bike, a Schwinn Mag Phantom Scrambler with red mags, and it was the coolest thing in the whole world. But what it really did is it changed my life. Like, it changed the structure of how I experienced everything around me. Suddenly, I had the capability to ride miles and miles away with no supervision. And I really like that idea. And we did that a lot when we were kids. Um, mountain biking wasn't even a thing yet. Oh, we did actually create our own little bags. Like, I was thinking about that the other day, because bike bags became like a really big thing that is like, but back then there wasn't mountain bikes. So no one had anything. So we made our own little bike bags so that we could carry like tools and change, so we could get tacos from Taco Time. We were super excited about that. But at that time, wherever anybody went, it was on their bikes. Just every kid I knew, they were on their bikes, and you knew where everyone was, where the pile of bikes were. That's where everyone was. And even at like 9 years old, we were riding our BMX bikes up over North Ogden Divide and up into the valley, and then back on a single speed on the dirt trail down in the bottom of the ravine, not on the road. And we rode the road too. And so I grew up just riding all of that terrain up there on a BMX bike as a kid. And when mountain bikes started hitting in 85, 83, 85, I was just going into high school. And I got my very first mountain bike. And I was excited, dude. I bought the stretchy pants, like these turquoise stretchy pants. You
saw him in a magazine or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like Hans Ray, I had seen him in a magazine, and I had the stretchy shirts, the whole sausage suit that people wear, right? I had the full sausage suit, and the bike that I had was this model. It was this very model that I got. It was the first bike I ever purchased myself. And I loved it. But no one around me really kind of could, I guess they didn't get what I got out of it, because I was riding all over the benches up above where I lived all the time, just on the regular. I just go out and ride. And it wasn't mountain bike trails. It was like 2-track, like dirt roads, and just wherever, just randomly. And there were no houses up there. It's all houses now. But I loved it. But then girls and cars came along, and I graduated from high school, and I focused on snowboarding, and bicycles kind of just left my mind. Oh, wait, I want to step back a little bit. When I first was running around the neighborhood on BMX bikes, I learned how to work on bikes by just taking my shit apart. The main tools that I had that I started with were these. This is what I learned how to take bikes apart with. And I took my bike completely apart as a little kid. That's like, cool. I was one of them kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And friends, if you were in my neighborhood, we would have been buddies.
Exactly. And I want you guys to, if you feel like you want to say something, because this isn't just me doing a thing. This is us talking about memories and all that stuff. Anyhow, this is how I started learning how to work on bikes. And no one showed me. I just took it apart and hoped it went back together, and it didn't. I learned by trial and error, and it was a bit of a challenge. But knowing the stuff that I learned from just these two tools has radically changed my life now, because on almost all of the bikes in here that you can see, there's going to be a cup and cone system somewhere on it, whether it's the headset or it's the bottom bracket or it's at the wheels. It's all the same kind of assembly, which is very similar. once I learned about cup and cones and how to address them or kind of how they functioned, and I'm not going to try to explain it to you guys exactly how that works. You can Google it on YouTube, you know what I mean? And you'll probably get my page, hopefully. But it's really not that difficult. It's not rocket
Yeah, like and
science.
subscribe. What's your YouTube channel?
It's the Neighborhood Bike Shop.
All right, on it right now.
Sweet,
Dude.
sweet.
Neighborhood Bike Shop. 10-4.
So after learning those little things, what,
I was
JP?
gonna say maybe like say that the cup and cone, like that's a bearing system.
Yeah, a bearing
it's like
system.
a type of bearing.
Yeah. That's a better way to explain it.
Yeah, that might make sense.
My brain skips over words that other people need to hear, but I just forget that you're not hearing them. So yeah, it's a bearing system, and there's just a lot of different places that bearing systems happen.
Mhm.
Anyhow,
The neighborhood
Bike Shop, yeah.
Neighborhood Bike Shop.
You
Yep,
went
yep.
from 184 to 185, my guy. You about to go to 190.
Nice.
Oh, dude.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it. Just to stop off on the Neighborhood Bike Shop, what you're going to see on there is basically I'm documenting every single one of my custom bikes, going through and just hopefully in under 15 minutes or faster, being able to show the work that I did, because I'm at a place now where I have to take them apart and then sell them piece by piece to support myself.
Yeah.
That's the economy we're in.
Is that pink
man.
one for sale?
Yeah.
How much?
The pink one I'll go for 500.
Okay.
But
I'll be down, dude.
well, let's talk about that a little bit later.
All right, yeah, keep doing your thing. Yeah.
The reason I say that is because it's a tribute bike to my mom and how she survived cancer.
Oh my God.
So when I say everything is for sale, but
dude.
that one
That was
is
special
kind of
as
special
fuck.
to me. So
Yeah.
we may have to talk about that one.
Well, either way, then
But-
maybe not that one, but a different piece.
Like-
No, let's
Oh hell yeah!
one,
I would love that. That's what I was hoping that this
Yeah.
might do, is maybe just get people exposed to the stuff that I do. Not only do I build custom bikes, but I commission. Like, people can say, "I need you to build a bike for me, and this is what I need." And anyhow, so like I'm a kid, I'm growing up, I get into mountain biking, I touch base on it, I fall in love with it, I really do. But my heart is with snowboarding and girls.
And what?
Girls.
Oh, girls, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
for sure.
girls, ladies,
Yeah. They're a
ladies.
great distraction, though, for sure.
And so I wanted to snowboard and court as much as I possibly could. And that meant just cars. You don't court on a bicycle for the most part.
Yeah, yo, hop on the pads,
Well,
chick. We're going
now
to
I
Taco
now
Bell,
I
we're
do
going to-
now I do, but not then. So years went by, quite literally decades went by, where I forgot about bicycles, and I came to a place in my life where I didn't want to be anymore. I was in a dark place, really depressed, and so I got on one of my bikes, and I was working as an architectural designer and a project manager in Salt Lake for an architectural firm called DCA or CRSA, or there's so many
Some
of them.
acronym,
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of them. Anyhow, when I was there, I just felt like I was in the wrong profession. Like, I was doing this job for a different reason than what I was supposed to. Like, when you grow up and you dream of what you want to do, at this point, I truly believe I should have followed what I really wanted to do from the beginning, because I would have been so much further ahead with it, rather than trying to do stuff for other people, my dad, to try to make them proud of me or to make society give me respect for, I do this and I designed that and I managed it. It's all bullshit, right? Yeah. So I was in that place, and I started riding my bike, and I started riding a road bike, and I ended up spending, a couple $1,000s in like 2006 on a bike, which would be more like a $4,000 or $5,000 bike nowadays. I got a Specialized tarmac, and I was riding it a lot, so much that I was shaving my legs and getting up on the bathroom counter and shaving my junk.
What the girls think of that?
They loved it.
Yeah.
They loved that shit, man. I'm telling you, man. The smoother I was,
Yeah,
the
fuck
more
yeah.
they dug it. But unfortunately, that attracted the chicks that I should not be around. And
They were hairier than yours, dude.
oh man, it's smooth, smooth. Anyhow, so I was all into it. I was spandex, let's go fast, light titanium roadie guy. I was not mountain bike guy at this point. I was corporate guy, so I needed to be more sophisticated. So I went on to road bikes. And as I started working on road bikes, because I had always worked on every bike that I had ever had my entire life, I'd never ever really paid anyone to work on my bikes. I just did it myself. When I moved on to road bikes, riding them, I also moved on to the maintenance of them. And I learned a lot of things about how bikes work. And about this time, I met JP.
Yeah.
It's about 30 years I've known JP,
Damn.
and he was at the Bingham's. You were at the Bingham's on South Ogden,
Just out
on
32nd.
Washington.
Yeah, Washington, 32nd.
Yeah. And I was a hood rat, but he was the bike guy. And I would come in, and I'd be the guy that hung out in the bike shop for hours on end, and they'd be like, "You should probably go now." But JP was always there, and he was always cool for me.
That's right, dude.
But he also taught me little bits. I would ask, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? And I started tinkering because that was my nature, was to play with all kinds of bikes. And if I can convey anything, don't be scared to play with your bike. Like seriously, most of the problems that you experience on your bikes, you can fix yourself. And you can fix them really pretty easily, and you can usually do it with pretty simple tools. There are some more complex tools that I'll get into a little bit later on that are like key tools if you're going to do real bike maintenance. But like just very simple tools that we all have for the most part are what you need.
Yeah.
Maybe the most important non-simple tool is a cone wrench. And what I mean by a cone wrench is they're a very thin profiled wrench, so you can stack two of them together and address two nuts that are not very thick. And that's hard to do with big old wrenches, like the wrench that I was showing a little bit earlier, that big monkey wrench. It's hard to do the cup and cones and the different things with that. But other than that, I just used simple tools. It was very straightforward, and I started riding a lot, and we were riding back from Salt Lake one day, me on my tarmac, and my friend on his road bike, and I thought we were going around a corner, or that we were going straight, and he thought we were going around a corner, and so he ran into me, and we fell over at about 2 miles an hour, like walking speed. And he landed on the back end of my, $4,000 carbon bike and just crushed it. Just destroyed. Yeah, no.
I was never the fast
No.
shaved leg guy.
No.
I was always a dirtbag BMX kid. So
anyhow, normally when something like that would happen to me, because I was brought up really materialistic. I'm going to be honest. My parents soothed every ache and pain with money, and it twists your brain. But when this happened, my normal reaction would have been, "Holy fuck, you just broke my bike, bro." But instead it was like, stuff happens. Let it go. There was some kind of release, something that happened where I let it go. Well, I mean, I don't know why it happened, but it just did. Emotionally, I was like, it's going to be okay. And 2 months later, my homeowner's insurance said, "Act of God, here's $4,000. Right? And so I had my choice. Am I going to replace it with a super high-end titanium road bike, or am I going to check out this new fad called fat biking and get a fat bike and a Surly cross-check," which I didn't bring. I should have brought. It's one of my. I didn't want to bring it out in the rain. I thought it was going to rain. But I bought the Surly cross-check and a Surly Moonlander. Not this one. This is the second one. And the idea was to be a commuter, get something that would get me back and forth to work and save me money, so that I didn't have to drive a car and do all that kind of stuff. But also to play with a toy that I really wanted to play with really badly. And that was 2012. I fell in love with bicycles again in 2012. Something just snapped in me. At that time, I had 7 bicycles, about 7 bicycles. And I worked on them regularly, but none of them had really been customized. But when this came along, or when fat biking came along, I all of a sudden wanted to make it mine. Like I wanted to change the color of this and that, or I wanted to make this special, and so I started doing that to bikes, and I did that to my very first fat bike, and it was called Marvin the Alien, and it was like a black speckled paint job, but the color scheme was green, so everything anodized was green, and I love that bike. I rode the shit out of that bike, and I got really involved in the bicycle community around here. I started organizing events and putting on an event yearly called Global Fat Bike Day. Yeah, bro.
So, as we're kind of migrating to this fat bike conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, my if I were to like evaluate it from like a 0 to 10, as far as my bicycle knowledge, I'm at like a 1, and I'm pretty optimistic by the end of getting to know you, it's gonna be like a 3 or 4. So, what is the appeal to a fat bike, dude? Like, what is this?
But yeah. Why? Why? Just why at all? Okay, so fat bikes, when they first came along, they were basically being billed as snow bikes.
Snow?
Yeah.
To cover snow terrain?
Like
really?
to ride on snow.
Oh, badass.
And
okay.
there's a race called the Iditarod,
Yeah.
which they do on skis, on dog sleds, and on bicycles.
I didn't know they were doing bikes.
Yeah. And at that time, they were trying to figure out how to make their bikes work better, so they would weld 3 rims together. They'd weld like a 27 and a quarter rim with 2 26s on either side of it, and then put 3 tubes and tires on it. Yeah. And yeah. But it was so that they could do this 2,000-mile plus race.
What?
Yeah, and they did it, and they started doing it. And not too long after that, Surly came out with the first production issue fat bike called a Pugsley. It was the white Pugsley.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I saw it. I saw a picture in a magazine of a white Pugsley, and that's when I went, oh, I got to get one of those. So I got one, and I quickly realized, because I got it before the winter had come along, and I wanted to play with it. So I started riding on our trails up here, and there's a lot of really loose shale, like steep switchbacks, really like baby head rock gardens all over the place. If you guys ride around this area, you know what I'm talking about. Fat bikes dominate on that. Oh, it's just insane how much more stable they are. Like when I ride a Skyline Trail up to Ben Lomond Peak, the first set of switchbacks is brutal because it's rocks this big that are just stacked. And so if you're on a regular mountain bike, you're just engaging your core and everything constantly, just constantly. On a fat bike, it's got such a wide, spread out foot platform that your body relaxes. And suddenly, what used to be hard, which I had a direct comparison in my mind on, this used to be hard, it's way easier on this bike. Even though it looks like it would be harder because it's bigger and fatter, you know what I mean? But it made riding uphill like I was almost on a trainer. It was that stable. I could throw it in the granny gear and just grind and go all the way up. So that got me back into bicycles. That really re-sparked my passion for bicycles after my corporate lull. And the very first bike after my fat bike that I decided, because I had disposable income that I treated poorly, or maybe, I don't know. Anyhow, I had a bunch of disposable income, and I decided that I was going to build my bike out the way I wanted. And I built this bike. And this is a 2006 or 2004, I am not completely positive, stump jumper.
That's an 04.
Yeah, I was thinking it was an 04. And it's all right, dude. It's there. It's there now. And I really wanted to turn everything blue. Like everything blue. Like I'm on the spectrum, if you guys haven't noticed yet. I'm like kind of that kid that rocks back and forth and drools a little bit. And so I wanted blue, and so I went to town, and I had like custom parts made a certain color. Like I called up Paul Components and I said, "Do you have a blue?" And they said no. I said, will you do a blue? And they said, you have to change the setup fee. There was an $85 setup fee for them to do any custom color I wanted. And so I had them do 2 sets of shift, brake, and brake calipers. And both of these bikes have that stuff on them. But this was the very first one that I went to town on, and I truly did like every single nut and bolt. There are set screws on a rear derailleur that I may talk about a little bit later that keep it from going too far this way or too far this way. Even those got replaced with like blue titanium screws, like $25 a screw kind of thing, right? Yeah, just everything, every single thing.
Do you have like a direct connect to like the CNC manufacturers to now make custom parts for your for your needs?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Badass.
Yeah. Over the couple of years that I've been doing this, I actually have developed all those relationships with the people that do this stuff. And actually, most of the companies that are out there, I usually know someone that's in the company or either owns it or started it, or it's been crazy. Oh man, this bike! I've got a story for you guys in a little bit, man. This bike, oh, John Grafton, that dude rules. Anyhow, so I get back into bikes, right? And I start playing with them more, but now I want to really work on them seriously. Like I want to work on them the way that a bike shop does. And I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to adjust railers or set up anything. So quite literally, I did it the way I always did from the time I was a kid, is I took that shit apart and I tried to put it together. And I would do it wrong and figure out what didn't work, try it over and over and over and over until I finally got really pretty good at it. At this point, I've done, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 custom bikes. Mark has and Deb have a couple bikes that I did for them. Mark, you have 2 that I did for you, and then 1 for Deb. And so a lot of the bikes that I currently have in my collection, I don't. No, yes, no, maybe, no, yes, kind of, no. That's exactly what I'm doing. But I see, I've got 37 right now that I've put that kind of work into. So it's too many. I just got to be honest with you. It's too many. And quite literally, when I came into this and I started really pursuing bicycles as my passion, when I stepped away from architecture about 5 years ago, I decided I wasn't going to do it anymore. I was going to change careers. I didn't care about conquering the world anymore, about making anyone respect me, or to have, any of this superficial stuff. I just didn't need it anymore. And I really wanted it to be about the quality of life and what I do and the people I hang out with and that I do that stuff with. And it's been a tough road. It's not easy. I went from a high disposable income to less than that. But I'm a million times happier. And the universe kind of reinforced this idea. When I started doing it, like I said, I had 7 bikes. In a year, I had 13 bikes. And I think it was just a matter of a year and a half later, I had 40 bikes. And I didn't buy them. They came to me. So what do you do when the universe goes, here, have all of these? I guess you do what the universe asks and work on bikes. So I worked on bikes. I turned my entire kitchen. I have a kitchen and a dining room that's right next to it. The dining room became a complete bike shop. Air compressor, a couple bike stands, full wall of tools, all that kind of stuff. My house is filled with bikes. Every single room has bike shit in it. Every single place, nook and cranny of my house is filled with bikes. This guy's going to be moving in with me here soon. But I literally have like 45 frames in my basement and 100 sets of wheels, maybe a couple hundred blank rims. I've got enough stuff that I could build probably another 20 or 30 bikes. But I realized that I didn't need to. Anyhow, so Working on bikes. How I learned to work on bikes was by just doing it, quite literally just doing it. And anytime I didn't understand what I was doing, nowadays you can just go to YouTube, seriously, and usually you can find some very good examples that can get you down the road. But there were a couple tools that were like game changers. And if you're thinking about doing your own bike mechanic at home thing, there's a couple of these that you're gonna have to have. Now, the very first one is just a multi-tool. Almost everything you need to get done on a mountain bike or on a road bike,
Allen
you can.
wrenches, right?
Yeah, Allen wrenches. There's,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, go ahead, check them out. And it's just having those different little bits and knowing how to tune them that makes a big difference. But it would take too long for me to show you piece by piece by piece on every single thing, how it works. Instead, I'm going to just describe the theory of how I learned how to learn. I guess I had to become open to learning. And so I learned from everyone I possibly could. Anybody around me that was better with bikes or knew more about bikes or could teach me anything about bikes, I would ask questions about bikes and he would teach me about them. In other words, I found someone like a bike buddy, like a mentor. And so if you really want to work on your own bikes, I'll help you. JP will help you. There are tons of people around that are good at bikes. Gage, there are a ton of people that will help with stuff. But like I said, that was the very first tool that I really needed. This next one that I needed was a chain whip. As you start working on your own bikes, there's going to come a place where you're going to need to remove and put on cassettes on wheels. It's just the geared chunk back here. So this is the only way you can do that. I mean, it's like one of them specialty tools, but it's like one of the very few bike tools that you really got to have if you're going to be like serious about taking care of your bikes. The next one is called a DAG, a DAG, derailleur alignment gauge, right? And this hooks in where the derailleur hits, and then it measures to the wheel. And it tells you whether your derailleur hanger is aligned with your rear tire. So most of the time when you've got a bike that won't tune, it just won't tune, it's going to be a bent derailleur hanger. Almost every single time. Yeah. Almost every single time. It won't have anything to do with anything else but the alignment of this. And that's why I think this one's so important, because it's the first tool bike shop guys grab when they're trying to figure out what's fucked up on a bike. Like if it's not shifting, it's not working right, that's the tool we grab first. And then some of the other ones that I picked up along the way are like a torque wrench, and it's a multi-setting torque wrench so that I can change the torque from different places. But you want to make sure that things are not tightened just guess tight. I learned guess tight. Like I learned what this was the right amount or this was the right amount. Yeah, about right. Right. But when I got this, there was no more guessing. I knew every single, and this will hit about 90% of the bolts on a bike that you need to check on. And those are the things that keep you safe. And that's the most important thing is if you're going to tune a bike, make sure you tune it in a way so it's safe. Yeah. I love this wrench, and I just wanted to show it to you.
We're into it. Let me see it. What do you call that? I'm a software guy, so you guys got cool tools to show me yours.
It's just a ratcheting park tool, a 14 and 15 millimeter closed end wrench. And most BMX bikes, like this bolt, is going to be a 15 or a 14 on almost all of them.
What's the color meaning?
That says it's my tool.
Okay, that's like, yo, bro.
Yeah. Like,
it's geolocated. This thing walks 15 feet off the property. You're going to know about it.
Well, I work at a bike shop. I work at Pronghorn Bicycle, and I take my tools to work. And when I take my tools to work, when I go home, I want to be able to go, this is my tool. I know for sure. I'm positive. Anyhow,
Can I say something about the quick work?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that like when you're getting into this, it can seem intimidating because there's so many different tools.
So many tools.
The nice thing is like you just buy them slowly. You don't need to go out and spend $5,000 on the whole complete bark tool bike kit. You can just grab like a $15 derailleur or not cassette tool or like a crank puller as you're going, and just buy the tools that work for your bike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of the derailer, I hate to derail here, but
Sounds like a
the
perfect
alternative
segue.
here that could be much more lucrative for you gentlemen is that we can sell y'all to fucking do that part and have those.
Well, yeah, and that's what I do. I do tune-ups out of my house.
That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, I appreciate that. Like, it's like, yeah, you guys can look all these cool tools, do it yourself. But it's like also a selling point. And like, dude, you know what's crazy? Like, Burning Man, I've seen photos after the burn. People are like, come get these bikes off the playa. People abandon them. All these rich fucking people will abandon hundreds of bikes out there. And they're like, if you guys have the capabilities, dude, that could be hella lucrative though. You just go scoop up there and a fucking U-Haul.
No, there's thousands of bikes. I have a couple friends that run stands at Burning Man and have done so for a decade. So they go down there and they build the custom bikes. And they help service the custom bikes. They put on a service station, and you're absolutely right. It's huge.
You just go pick them up, dude.
At
Go
the
pick up all of them up, and then slowly but surely tune them out. And sorry.
Yeah.
No,
and
the collective.
We looked
JP.
into that.
Yeah,
JP.
what happened, dude?
So Mark's wearing his collective shirt. We worked there, and it most of the time when you're taking a bike to Burning Man, you're taking called a burner bike because
it's not that great. You can leave
you're
it.
driving around in the desert. You're beating the hell out of it.
So
It's
the components-
probably gonna get picked up by somebody else and rode off.
Yeah,
So
those
you
components
take
in there aren't
you
even
take
that
the
fucking,
jankiest,
the
the bare minimum level
Walmart
of what a
bikes.
bike
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that could be considered a
Just a
bike.
fucking trash pile of Walmart bikes. Got it.
Yeah. And so we looked into it, and it just wasn't like financially viable.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, you're right. But it is weird. It's a weird situation because the bikes are kind of disposable.
Yeah.
Either that or they're full custom art bikes, in which case they're not
They're
disposable.
not getting left behind.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, they I mean they'll bring them. They'll bring like
Yeah,
cool,
those ones are going home
crazy,
with them.
like
Yeah.
sculptural, like weird, kind of like Mark's Mastodon over there. His big trike, like weird bikes like that. There's tons of them there, but they go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Because somebody spent all year, or last couple years,
they're not worth much.
building them up. Yeah,
There's
it's
not really
like
good components on
a lot of
these.
broken
They
beach
can piece
cruisers
out,
and a lot of Walmart bikes. Yeah,
So,
But-
yeah, you're supposed to loop on that.
yeah.
Well, so like all of this kind of circles around to me and the neighborhood bike shop. And here's the thing. I want to rep every single bike shop around here because I'm friends with every single owner of every single bike shop in northern Utah. And I love them all. They're all really cool people. They all deserve your businesses. I guess Bingham's downtown shut down just recently. Yeah, so that's gone away. So there's the bike shop out south, Skyline Bicycle, both Matt Howard, and then Matt. Yeah.
Okay.
And other than that, bike shops are going to have a hard time in the near future. And this is just me prognosticating a little bit. I truly believe that with some of the financial situations that are going to be happening over the next 4 years, that people are going to have less disposable income to spend on new bikes or even having bikes worked on in bike shops. So if you can work on it at home, it's that much better. And part of what I want to do with what I'm doing is I want to teach people how to work on bikes. So if you have me do a tune-up on your bike, you can also schedule it for a small additional fee to come and hang out while the bike gets done. And then I will show you everything that I'm doing. I'll go through it step by step.
I'm still on training wheels, my guy.
But no, that's
the best part.
that's the best segue ever right there. So 6 times I've gone from 170 pounds up to 240 plus. I am at my 240 plus right now. Every single time that's happened, I've gone through a medical crisis in my life. And everything from breaking my back to diverticulitis, to it's just thing after thing after thing throughout my life. So my weight has gone like this. And bicycles are the only thing that have really saved my life all the way along. When I was a little kid, they gave me freedom. They gave me a whole new world. As I got older, they gave me education. They gave me a community to interact with. And then they started really saving my life. And right now, bicycles are my life. Like, it's every part of my life. If you walked into my house, you would go, you need some help, sir. Because my bike is full of house.
Dude, they released you day one. They're like, yo, you end up in like the mental institution. You're just going off about bikes. Like, let him get the fuck out of here, dude.
So what I envision the bike shop doing over the next several years is I want to help everyone that needs help. I want to do volunteer work, as in I want to start taking donations to kids' bikes, getting them backed up, and start like giving them back to the community. As we can start building that donation channels that come from different places, the more stuff that is donated, the more that we'll be able to work on, the more that we'll be able to give away to the community for free. See, that's the key to me. It's got to be free. No one's trying to make money off of anyone. All of my bikes, the super high-end custom ones, I got to charge for it because I put hundreds of hours into them and have spent years and years and years refining them further and further. But there's also an entire other selection of bikes where I'm going to start going out, and I already have probably 5 or 6 candidates that I was going to bring today that were going to be up for sale super cheap. One of them being like the Scott, being just a very affordable, solid 80s, 90s mountain bike that someone can get into for less than what they're going to go to Walmart for. And get them a bike that's going to be safe, that's going to get them out there and riding. And also, we'll bring them into the family. Because once you buy a bike from me, for the first year, all labor is free on the bike. Like, anything goes wrong with it, you only pay for the parts. I'll do all the labor for free. You get a flat tire, you bring me a tube in your bike, I'll fix it for free. That kind of thing.
I'm down to get with it too, bro. Like, I'm with it. You know?
Awesome.
If I fucking use the tools, I'll fucking do it. I'll volunteer, I'll help.
Well, that's where I really wanted to go with this whole thing, was to bring not only us together here, but to bring the community, the bicycle shops. All of the bike shops need to be involved, and most of them, given a chance, they will. I know Matt Howard, the bike shop, he is down for almost anything.
He helped us a ton at Collective.
Yeah, and I know the other Matt at Skyline. I talked to him just the other day, and he's down, but they're in a tight spot. Most places are in a tight spot.
Anytime I've been disc golfing, though, I'm a real golfer now, so I'm trying to...
Huh? I love golf.
No, dude, fuck it, let's go golf, dude.
I can't. I can't.
Why?
Broke my back. Ruined my back. No longer can golf. I spent $7,000 on golf in one summer.
Holy shit, dude. Where the fuck was I, dude?
It was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was...
Anytime I've met the bike van guys, like the owners of the bike shops in the vans, like, because they have the insignias, logos, you name it, they're in the parking lot at the fucking disc golf.
Yeah.
Those guys disc golf, dude. That's where you meet them, dude. I swear to God.
So I guess the bottom line of anything that I'm doing here is, if I have anything that interests you, get with me. I'll work on it with you. I'll do what I can to try to make it happen. And ask anybody that has had any interaction with me on this level. I'm going to have a tendency of giving my work away rather than charging for it. I am not looking to get rich. I just want to live.
I'm interested in what you're saying about you broke your back and you're still riding.
Yeah.
Like, ergonomically, have you like found the best? Like, how do you find the best fit for you?
It is amazing, and that's an awesome question, because back problems and bicycles seem like they wouldn't go together very well. They almost like it would aggravate your back because you're all bent over. But in my case, it makes my back feel better. It actually helps me get into a better position. What happened to me is, when I was 21, 22, it was opening night at Powder Mountain. They had 20 inches of fresh snow on top of frozen dirt, and someone built a giant jump. And I was big balls Mark, snowboarder guy. That's what I was focused on. And so I hit this jump and just crushed it. and everyone was like, "Oh yeah!" My ego went. "Ho, ho, ho." Next time around, the jump was twice as big, and so I went 4 or 5 times as fast. And I ended up Supermaning down the hill, trying to suicide roll out of it. Landed, my face smacked my thighs. If you can see, my face doesn't hit here. My face hit here. Hey, oh, no worries. Welcome. Sweet shorts. Anyhow, it created a compression fracture in my lower back in between L4 and L5. And later on, through all of the manual jobs that I had done, that later on turned into a ruptured disc that turned into back surgery. And the back surgery was when my golfing career became over. Any twisting stuff, I can't do anymore.
So the back one's tough. I have a torn ACL, a repaired ACL, MCL meniscus because I went to high school in Park City, and I was a big competitor, skateboarding, snowboarding, rock climbing, you name it. And I unfortunately had like an injury that fucked up my knee pretty bad.
Bicycles will save you.
Yeah, dude, I'm down to get into biking, dude. Because like honestly,
zero impact, just rolling.
Because Steve shared some of his excerpts from his books with me, and I haven't read his books, but one of the quotes that really like was compelling to me is Mark talking about the mental state of mind you're in when you're on a bike. Because sometimes, you don't really need an excuse to ride it. You just go out and you fucking ride the fucking bike, and you're away from your stresses, you're away from a bunch of bullshit. And then sometimes when you're on that bike ride, you just ask yourself, what am I doing right now? It's just riding a bike. That's all you're doing. You're not thinking about anything else.
It's a primary state of mind for me. When I ride, my brain empties. Honestly, I kind of quit thinking about everything, and I just kind of present.
Yeah.
Like I'm right there, right at that moment. And with a lot of, I've gone through a bunch of really dark places in my life. Places where when you're there, you're like ready to leave. You're good. Yeah, you're good. And bicycles have been the only thing that has been able to bring me back from that place. Like when you want to leave and then you go and get on your bike and you ride around and you come back and you're smiling, and it's not because of how far you went, it was just because you went, kind of thing. And bicycles are addicting to me. And I said I was on the spectrum, but where that comes into play for me on bicycles is circles. For some reason,
circle motions.
Yeah, just there's circles everywhere. And the circles just kind of seem wholesome and healing to me. And it's something that you don't even have to think about. You can just feel it.
Yeah, they're
Like
communal. There's
just everything. It's just everything wrapped. It's the greatest machine made by man, in my opinion. Period. Bar none. And let's touch on e-bikes for a second. Some people do not like e-bikes.
Oh, they don't like e-bikes?
Mark hates e-bikes.
The circular motion, huh?
Hates is the wrong word. Yeah. But where I'm coming from is like I'm a busted off old man, and I earned all this busted shit. I snowboarded off of shit I shouldn't have. I skied off of shit I shouldn't have. I've jumped off of everything on my bikes. Right? But to be honest, if the only way you can get out and pedal is to have an e-assist bike, which is where I've been a couple times in my life in the last 4 years. My friend Dustin, one of our buddies, he brought me a fat e-bike, and I was in the same place. I was like, fuck e-bikes. No way. But I couldn't get off the couch because I was in so much pain. And I was at my weight, if not higher, and I couldn't resist the little boy in me wanting to play with this toy. So that's how I looked at it, was a toy. And I went out and I dicked around on that toy, and in 3 months I lost 40 pounds. Yeah, yeah. On the toy.
No change in diet or
Nothing.
Damn.
Nothing.
That's
Just
fucking
pedaling. And pedaling on an e-bike.
Yeah.
Like, as in, it's fully helping me all the time, everywhere. I'm lazy as shit.
Bro, that's awesome.
But it got me out. It got me moving around. It got me going around the community. Yeah. Just all that stuff came back into play.
You want your bike as a sanctuary of sorts.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
And so I think e-bikes for people that have physical challenges are a huge asset. Like, and even if you don't have an e-bike, I think a bicycle is one of the best ways to recover from almost anything physical, psychological, anything. I think it's one of the healthiest.
Headphones in or no headphones?
Oh, I ride headphones.
Yeah,
I ride headphones.
Okay, yeah, you gotta have that playlist going.
But I also commuted to Salt Lake for 20 years on a bicycle. So I rode the, I would ride the express bus at first, and then Front Runner came later on. But so I ended up riding downtown Salt Lake traffic on a daily basis, and you get almost killed every single time. Every single time.
That bike from Park City to Salt Lake every day.
Oh yeah.
Round trip. Like Immigration Canyon kids. Dude.
Oh yeah.
No, these kids are like they're psychos, dude. No, dude, they're like hell yeah, bro. I do round trip fucking they don't technically take Parley's Canyon, right? But like, yeah, dude, they're like, I've met some bike freaks, dude.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I'm trying to join the cult, dude. Where's the brochure?
I was gonna say we accept everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's welcome into bike freakdom, for sure. But like, it is one of the most life-changing things in my life, and having taken my life down one path and kind of been wrong about it. If there's anything I can really share is if you're not happy with what's going on in your life, start doing what makes you happy. Because time is going to go. It just years go by. Boom. Before you know it, we'll be 5 years after this. And if you're not down the road on your own passion,
I don't know if I'm happy in it, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Doing corporate stuff, dude.
find out what you're happy with.
I'm happy, like,
What did you dream about when you were a kid?
video games, dude, always.
Do that.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go for the video game guys because
There you go.
right now is like trash. Like, it's not
I
trash.
watched Grandma's Boy last night. You could be a video game tester.
My idea, if we're cultivating video games, let's go. That's what I'm trying to do.
Anyhow, is there anything else that you guys want to know about me or hear from me, or is there anything? Huh?
Was that your gnarliest crash, or is there
Which one?
On a bike.
Oh, I've crashed so hard so many times. My motto is catch the air, fuck the landing. And that lasted until I was 36. After 36, it changed. Well, it mostly changed because of the hospital bills. I've got a great picture that JP took of me where I was mooning him through the windows. Like he can't. I was like, dude, come up to McCady Hospital, pull into the parking lot, and drive at the sound. Yeah. And I was like, then stop and look up at the second store window. And he, yeah.
Making people laugh is also a passion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like
dude, that's
smiling's crucial.
Dude,
Bicycles bring
making people laugh
smiles.
is fucking great. Yeah.
Smiles are part of a circle too. So.
But I have a question. Okay, so let's say hypothetically, I were to like get into this bike thing. I get a bike, and we partner on like a bike, and what would you recommend I like go? Where's
Trails right by my house.
Trails?
Yeah.
Are they uphill though?
The very first thing I said, like seriously, the very first thing is explore.
Yeah, the park. Yeah.
When you get on your bike,
No.
Yeah.
You can ride to Provo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Here to Provo on the Parkway.
with a couple.
There's a little bit of rolling,
But
but
not that much?
No, it's not
What?
like
Really?
yeah.
Oh, it's called the Parkway?
Yeah.
Look at that, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, Steve.
Yeah, the park.
Yeah.
But don't overwhelm yourself. Have
I have a
fun.
free bike
Like,
that I got inherited from Facebook because I was like, yo, who's got a bike?
Well,
That's Steve's garage.
bring it over and I'll tune it up for you for free. Just bring it over, and
No,
I'll
that
tune
was
it up.
trash. I want a new one.
But and
That was a free
then
bike. There was a free bike, dude. It's
and
not
then
good,
we can go ride.
I'm not putting money in that one.
You know what I'm saying? Bring it over. We'll hang out and we'll go ride.
I want to start with the good one. Okay.
You'll talk him into it.
You start with the free one, and you'll get to a point where you're like, yeah, this bike is hot garbage, but I can never get rid of it because I love this bike so much because you've had so many good times on it.
I haven't had any
So
time. I don't have any.
Yeah. But like,
When you were a kid, what did you do?
yeah.
Did you ride bikes when you were a kid?
So just like skateboarder kid, dude. Like so, like
I was a skater, by the way.
I grew up in
Ruined
Las
my
Vegas.
ankles.
So
Destroyed them.
First time I got the wind knocked out of me, I was just telling Steve the story. That sucks, by the way, because that's the first time you think you're gonna die. But was like growing up in Las Vegas, dude. Like all the kids in the neighborhood, we had X Factor ramps, dirt, like the developing properties on the side of our neighborhood. We like the dad's out there building dirt jumps. So we're out there on BMX bikes, and I'm casing jumps. Fucking, fucking dude, yeah.
Oh, dude. So old story from the Schwinn Mag Phantom part of my life. 9 years old, out in the field next to where we live, because everyone's got a field next to where they live when they're 9 years old. There was a jump that we called the camel jump, and it was a hump-to-hump jump with a dip in the middle, right? And it was all of maybe from here to that pole wide.
That's it? Oh, wide.
Okay, like, but we're 9 years old, and our bikes would fit in the gap completely. So our eyes were like, oh, right? So me being the guy that always tried it first, I ended up learning how to jump it, right? So I jumped it probably 2 or 3 times, and all the neighborhood kids are around me, and they're like all 6, 7, 8 years old. Like, we're little kids. And I'm like some authority, like, here, I'll show you guys how to do it. And so I'm talking them through the approaches. I'm approaching the dome. You want to approach it at about this speed. And I jump off, and I case that other side with the front tire, man. And I go straight over the bars, straight to my hands and my face. We had a lot of goat heads in our neighborhood. Like, a lot of goat heads. Like, an infestation of goat heads. So I hit the ground, and I slid on what felt like marbles, but they were really goat heads poking into me, breaking off, and then rolling over to the other side to poke the other one into me, and then break off.
You still stuck the bike? See, no.
I wrecked. It was
times on bikes. I said no more.
that was my first lesson with. Here's what happens when you lead with ego. You know, like my ego said, do this, and I paid for it. And then later on in life, jump this huge. Ego, do this. So yeah, my ego has led me down the wrong path a lot of times, but not on the bikes. And I love my bikes. I have too many of them, and I am trying to sell a bunch of them. I have some that are just too expensive. I have to take them apart and sell them piece by piece to really.
There's no buyers, bro.
Well, I've got probably $40,000 in bikes, and but no one will buy them for $300, $500 even a piece, and like a $2,000 bike. Well, that's the plan.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get a spot. I'm gonna try to get a spot at the farmers market, and just take my bikes down every week. My goal is to refurbish 2 bikes a week. Like, find, like yard sale, whatever. 2 bikes a week, refurbish them, and then sell them. And maybe get them for $100, sell them for $300 after putting a couple hours into them, and then find a way to make a living selling used bikes, working on bikes, and then trying to develop a community where we bring back what the bicycle collective used to be, and get that service back to the community.
I remember that. I remember going on those when you go down Washington Boulevard.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys used to do rides?
That's what I was talking about earlier.
That's right. I remember. Yep.
Stop traffic and everything.
Yep.
Well, dude, now what they're doing is just like they're trying to rock their fucking race cars, dude. Their cars. That's all they're doing on that block. Is like trying to rev their engines and like show up in their fucking sportsy fucking cars and their trucks.
They're
rev their
hunting.
engines and be loud.
They're in warrior phase.
What's that
That's
mean?
when I was a young man and I was chasing after everything. I was in warrior phase, right?
Okay.
I'm not in warrior phase anymore.
I don't know what that means.
It,
Keep going. Keep elaborating.
no, like
women wanting to drive cars, like dropping the bicycles and not really like.
it was about what everything man. You know, it was about, for me, it was about getting pussy and getting money and getting prestige, getting recognition, getting respect.
Well, can I just say something to you really quick?
Yeah.
As a 32-year-old man, like I work in tech and shit, and
Yeah.
HR administration, okay, for like large companies, low key, but like I'm like in the place where like that's honestly ideal for like making me happy. It's like because I work remote, dude. Also that sucks, but it's like, dude, it'd be nice to like actually be like focused on like courting a woman and like doing these other things as a distraction to balance out this fucking kind of stressful job I have.
Do it on a bike.
Yeah, do it on the bike. Okay, dude. All right, I'm with it, dude. Where's the brochure?
No, I will go ride with you.
Yeah,
Anybody knows me in the bike industry knows that I'm down.
Golfing, but it sounds like you probably can't like golf like crazy. But like, dude,
I want to golf again so bad, dude.
On a chill course. I play El Monte. That's my home course. But like, yeah, man, I like courting women and being this warrior face isn't a bad thing.
No, it's natural.
Dude,
It's natural.
like
it's
still-
just
I
all
do
part of
more-
it.
yeah, honestly,
And
it's
it-
way more than that.
Enjoy it while you're there.
Yeah.
But also, like, I wish I would have had a different priority set when I was in that frame of mind myself. If I would have done things differently, my life could be totally, radically different. I could have retired by now and not had to work at all.
Hey, Mark.
But I'm blessed because I get to work on bikes. Yeah.
Mark has a question.
So it's not a question. I'm just saying we're just gonna wrap it up. And if people have questions for you,
Cool.
come up, talk to you one-on-one.
Yeah.
About bikes and etc. They're interested in purchasing. One thing I would suggest, even if the bike's not for you, if you know somebody who's looking for a bike, send them.
Definitely.
Someone who owns two bikes.
Yeah, dude, let's fucking.
Right on.
Yeah, right on, Mark.
Well, hey, thank you. I don't know if that did anybody any good whatsoever, but
Dude, that was a great service, dude.
right on.
I enjoyed that.
Cool. Now we can stop recording.